welcome to this 59th session of Art Matters, which Raza Foundation organizes in collaboration with India International Center. We have completed almost more than 6 years of this series. Of late, we are having conversations with some of the major figures of the arts of our time. And we are particularly lucky to have one of the most senior classical musicians of India amidst us. This is SHANNO KHURANA. All of you know her, and if you don't, your musical literacy will be under some doubt. Because SHANNO ji has been on the scene, and particularly in Delhi, for many decades. She was there when I came as a student in St. Stephen's College in 1960, and she was very much there when I came back after being thrown out of Bhopal in 1997 or 92. So she has been there. She's one of the constant figures, a very enduring figure, an iconic figure in the world of classical music and dance and theatre. She has won all the possible awards, Fellowship of the Sangeet Natak Academy, Padma Shri and Padma Bhushan. She learned, as you know, from Rampur Saraswat Gharana, and later also trained herself in Gwalior and Agra. She also has been a very innovative organizer of music in Delhi. I remember once I was here when I was still Bhopal, and there was a Bhairav to Sohni festival going on here, or wherever it was. So SHANNO ji, and to know about her life, her career, her struggles, her anxieties, and of course, her achievements and her energy even at this age. She is very second featured in this series. One who was featured in this series, Bhushan Khanna, who's 93, and she is just about that, a little. And to talk to her, AHUJA. AHUJA is a professor of art in JNU, but he has been a very eminent curator, and he has done some remarkable exhibitions around the so-called spiritual India, paying attention to the body. And this is the path-making exhibition he did. He also did, when I was in Lalit Kala Academy, an exhibition specially curated of Devi Prasad. And there are other things. He is also the co-editor or whatever editor is called of Mar. And he happens to be grandson. So here is a family tie also, but also a tie in intelligence, in vision, in creativity and in imagination. So ladies and gentlemen, we are very happy to present to you SHANNO KHURANA ji and Naman AHUJA. And the conversation will last as long as it can, or as long as either of them is not exhausted. Also, you are not exhausted. And then there might be time for some brief comments and some question answers later. SHANNO ji and Naman.
Thank you.
He's invited Naman and me to be in conversation. He asked me who to prefer, who to interview him. I said, आप बताइए. Can you आप बताइए? ठीक है, Naman, because nobody knows more than nobody knows. He knows me inside out. As I said, he knows me inside out. And I'm sure he's going to load me with piercing questions. I don't know, I'll try and answer them because it has been such a long journey with many twists and turns. And so there are long stories about it. So here we go. Now, whatever you want to
Thank
ask.
you. It's wonderful to have you all here. Thank you very much for coming. Over the past 10 years, I've been trying to bring some order to the archive. I'm sorry I'm using technical words like this, but that is the nature and want of my profession. There are suitcases and suitcases at home filled with old photographs of performances. There are spools which contain music that I've never had the opportunity to listen to because we don't have a working spool player in the house. So I've never been able to listen to them. I don't know what condition all that music from the 50s and 60s is in today. But there are things, and the things have been getting lost, and controlling it all has been difficult. So what I've been trying to do is bring some focus and order by having these focused conversations. And the one conversation that I have been forbidden almost from having has been 30 years of work in the theatre. There were conversations that went on about Punjabi music and the folklore of Punjab and the lore and the musical traditions of Rajasthan. We've had conversations on the Rampur Sahaswan Gharana, which IGNCA thought it important enough to record it as a double DVD pack, the entire conversation about the legacy of Ustad Mushtaq Hussain Khan Sahab. We've had a conversation at BHU about Thakur Jaidev Singh in a lot of detail, and I found that there was another suitcase full of phenomenal letters that the eminent Sanskrit scholar and musicologist Thakur Jaidev Singh wrote to her. So I've been encountering many things, but interspersed with all of this were sort of the list of the clothes that went to the dhobi that day, as well as interspersed with it was some child's homework and little personal photographs, and then again one comes up with photographs and material from the work that was being done in the theatre. And Ashok ji offered me an opportunity when he said that जो मर्जी आए free flowing conversation आप रखना चाहें तो आप you have a full conversation and you can ask her whatever, and even if she wants to talk about rivalries, that's okay. In fact, he said so in writing, thankfully, and that letter came. I asked him to please send it in writing. So he sent a letter to Nani, and Nani read it for herself, and I said, देखिए इसमें लिखा हुआ है, आपको ये बतानी ही पड़ेंगी चीजें, आप इसे नजरअंदाज नहीं कर सकती हैं any longer. So now here we are. I want to know, first and foremost, why have you been so reluctant to have this conversation with me about theatre? By the way, for the past 1 week, all I've been hearing is, make sure that you don't undermine my work in classical music. So that was instruction number 1 that has been repeated so many times. So I just want to get that out of the way first. Why?
Well, it has been, classical music has always been my first love. Since the age of 8 or 9, when I used to hear Narayan Rao Vyas, Vinayak Rao Patwardhan, Roshanara Begum, I said, this is the music that I want to learn. A masterji used to come to the house to teach my elder sisters, just to keep them busy, because we had a very protected life. in Jodhpur. I was born and brought up in Jodhpur, and my father was in service. And but I wanted classical music. You wouldn't believe it. Out of the blue, a gentleman by the name of Musalgaonkarji, Raghunath Rao Musalgaonkarji of KHURANA, and he was a nephew of Raja Bhaiya Poochwala. He decided to come and settle down in Jodhpur. So I told my father I want to learn classical music. He said, "No, he's too young. No, you can't. Tum gaa leti ho, it's enough. How can I can't ask this young man to come and teach you?" My brother was allowed to learn, but I wasn't allowed to learn from him. Those were the days. Very protected life. But then when he saw that Musalgaonkarji, वो तो बेचारे अपनी आँख भी ऊँची नहीं करते थे बिल्कुल. Then said, "Okay, now you can learn from him." I started learning from him. It was so difficult in those days to go after these arts. Then I started learning from him, and I must say he gave me a very solid grounding. I learned from him for 6 years.
A little more.
It was
But you were already learning even before you learned from him.
well, in a way. I wouldn't say it was formal training that I was getting, but it was about 6 to 7 years that I learned from him.
So coming back to the theatre aspect, which I'm not going to let you get away from. I want to understand that why, if you can tell us in a simple way, what was really, if I asked you a question, that what was your contribution to the world of theatre? What would you say?
I would say it was opera, really. And it was the music. It was the music that I wanted to give. I wanted to sing, I wanted to compose. So it so happened that Sheila Bhatia and Hali, they were friends, and she was working on Hiranja, and she wanted me to take part in that. I said, "Look, I don't act. My line is classical music." He said, "Tum aao to sing." So when I went, there were a number of singers there, but they had no idea of pitches, from where to start, where to end. So it was, my ears couldn't take it. And I told Sheila, I said, you made some beautiful tunes, folk tunes of Punjab, and so beautifully. You've written it so well. But where is music? Where are the pitches? Now, one character starts a line and ends somewhere. The other character came from somewhere, not in the same tune. Not same tune, not
same
picking
pitch.
up the right pitch. Not like it. And that sounded like poison to me, and I said no. So the first thing that I did was to sit with her conductor, Sushil Das Gupta, and we worked out the different pitches. Then so and so starts from there, and so ends from there, and picks up the other thing. So somehow or the other, we were able to put things together in tune, which was very essential. Otherwise, it wouldn't be music. It wouldn't be music. So we started practicing. I started training the their voices, and started practicing going by the rules of music, classical music. So that was the first thing that I did, and put them together.
So there was a more connected musical flow,
Yeah,
and trying to train the people who were working in the theatre as to
Yeah.
what should be the core principles.
yeah,
If you are using music in theatre,
yeah.
what kind of, how the music needs to be connected,
Connected.
and how different characters, one character needs to leave off at a certain place where the other one needs to pick up.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about is that the opera medium which you started working, you keep saying that to me that we've had a long tradition of Giti Natyas or
Yeah.
Natya Sangeet,
Yeah.
but an opera is not Natya Sangeet.
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
I say that because when you say Sangeet, Natya Sangeet, there are spoken words as well in between.
Hmm.
Spoken words, then somewhere music comes, somewhere dance comes in. So this is not the way I think opera is.
Right.
Opera is, even when you say ha ya na, has to be on a particular note,
Right.
which is meaningful.
Hmm.
Which is meaningful. So that is why I feel Giti Natya, no, doesn't give the full picture, because it's Natya and then Geet and then spoken word. So that's why I thought, "Good, this is somehow what I was trying to do was on the Western opera style,
Right.
you know.
Hmm.
And so as I said, that you go into every detail, the fillers, the orchestra that goes, makes it more meaningful.
So you're thinking of the music even in the passages where the vocalists were not delivering the dialogues.
Yeah.
All the other pieces, the full score
Yeah.
of the entire piece for 2 hours or 3 hours is an entire score that you are dealing with. So the
Yeah.
music is essential.
Yeah.
It's not just the work of the writer, the playwright.
The libretto, no.
Hmm.
It's all, everything has to be put together.
Hmm.
It has to be put together. And also the quality of voice,
Hmm.
where you give meaning to shabd.
Hmm.
The voice has to go accordingly. I believe in that.
Hmm.
So that's what I try to do. The voice and this, it has to go together. And this is what we call in classical music kaku bhed. And this is how I tried to bring kaku bhed in voices.
So, one of the things you said the other day, and I wrote it down, and it says, I wanted to share with the audience that these operas became quite a success, and because many people here don't necessarily know what happened, and they toured and they went all over India, or at least many parts of North India and Hyderabad. You would travel with the entire troupe, and which meant taking a full theatre troupe to different parts of the country in the 50s and 60s, 70s, and it meant traveling with your carpenters and your set designers and the music conductor and the entire orchestra.
A general's wife acting,
Yeah.
a babu working, a clerk, and we all worked together. And it was a wonderful experience when, for instance, when we went to Hyderabad, we went in 3rd class.
I know, I found a lovely picture.
Of that?
Yeah, which I have here. All of you arriving looking quite sleepy at Hyderabad station. Yeah, it's quite visible. I mean, everyone is Quite. So this is the entire. This is the group for Jahara, right? In 19.
Yeah. Our friend Khusro,
Hmm.
he was very, and his wife, they were very impressed with the opera. I said, you must take it to Hyderabad. I said, ठीक है, आप arrange कर दीजिए, हम चले जाएंगे. So we all trooped down, and it was very well received, very well received. And we traveled to Dehradun, booked a whole bus, the sets and a whole lot, about 40 people of us. And in that first time when I went, I want to tell Kapilaji that your brother Keshav also traveled with us. We had a journalist friend, Kohli, very active. He was one of those times who would go and sweep the stage, take away the nails from there. We all worked together. So we went to Nagpur, we went to Dehradun, we went to Dehradun twice, we went to Lucknow and so many other places. And everywhere, but there were hitches and hitches. When we arrived in Lucknow, the king of Sikkim died and the auditorium was shut, you can't stage, and we were going to give only one show. I said, I can't take the cast back without performing. It was, some friends came forward and they involved another theatre group in Lucknow. And there we staged and we did it and we did very well. By the time it was about 9 o'clock, we had to catch a train. They gave us packed dinner and after the show we just ran. Same thing happened in another place. They said, you can't stage because we haven't paid entertainment tax. Now, how would an artist know about this tax and things like that? I'm with my Sare Gama Padani, so for heaven's sake, why do I have to do all this? It was, but again I said, no, we have to do it. We can't go back without performing. And then again they came with a plan, something like that. People gave donations, so we didn't have to pay entertainment.
Buy tickets.
Yeah,
they didn't have to buy tickets.
Yeah. Tickets, money, no.
Yeah.
Do it. So we did it anyway. Same thing happened in Nagpur. It was such a success, they wanted another show. My conductor said, no, I can't. I have to go back and report in Springdale School where I teach, and Rajni Kumar will be absolutely furious if I don't. And I said, I know Rajni, I'll tell her, I'll explain to her, but people want it, let's do it. And we did it. So there were hitches all around, so many hitches. But we persisted and we went on and on.
Well, I'm just trying to get now, since we've established that the theatre actually became an all-consuming, all-absorbing thing, you were completely involved by some stage. It was not just about your lending music, but it had also become the full gamut of the theatrical experience of actually running a troupe. And what does it mean to run and control a troupe and be in charge of the administration and what goes on between the players and making the arrangements for them and running an entire outfit meant that you had to set up an organization to be able to do this.
Well, what made me start my own organization, Geetika, there was a reason for it. LTG, I'm being very frank, I'm allowed to. They said, you do it under the banner of LTG. Very happy. Chalo, hall मिल जाएगा practice करने के लिए, rehearsals के लिए मिल जाएगा. We went there and we started practicing. We started with great success. And that was Soni Maiwal. Now Soni Maiwal, if I go a little backwards, I had...
Let's just get it straight, 1 second. The first opera that you did was with Sheila Bhatia was Heer Ranjha.
That's right.
Then after that you did Soni Mahiwala.
Soni Mahiwala, because the demand was so much for an opera. So,
Right. So, and then the third one you did was Jahara.
yeah,
And the fourth one was Chitralekha. And the fifth one was Sundari.
that's right.
And the fifth one, the last one you did was 1980.
That's right.
Right.
And may I imagine here,
Huh.
when I was doing Sundari rehearsals, I used to take him for rehearsals every day. He was about 4 years old, 5 years.
No, I was 6.
He was okay. Okay.
By that time.
I remember we were driving back after the rehearsal. He said, Nani, वो आदमी जो उस तरफ से आया था ना, वो गलत एंट्री थी. उसको उस तरफ से आना चाहिए था. He was so observant. I said, अच्छा, मैंने ख्याल नहीं किया. He said, I'm telling you wrong. Next time he said, Nani, that lady, वो बेसुरा गाती थी. She was off key. I said, how do you know she was? मुझे मालूम है.
Achha, that's very sweet. Thank you. But
So, talking about Soni Mahiwala,
huh.
it was, people had a lot of hopes because Heer Ranjha was such a success. And mind you, I might say here that Heer Ranjha, in spite of having so many flaws, we all have flaws in anything at all. But people, because of the partition, they were very nostalgic. And everything we did was, anything we did, people would overlook. My problem with Heer Ranjha was, Hali would take up a line and go Besura. And after that, I had to do a Doli scene when I'm forcibly being married to Ranjha. He would take the wrong note and I would know where to start from. And he was in great thing and he just went on. My God. And then suddenly Sneh Sanyal wouldn't know where to start because someone else went Besura. So these were the hitches that we faced. But people, they really liked it. And it was, I remember, if I went to Connaught Place, they said, "Oh, Heer ja rahi hai." Or on one occasion, my husband was busy with his patients, and he said, "You take a cab and go." I went and sat in the cab, and this driver said, "Ji, kithe jana?" So I said, "Fine." "Oh, ji, utte Heer." "Oh, Heer ji, wah wah, ki gal hai." I didn't know he was carrying Heer in the car.
In his dolly. In his
So such experiences also were there. Then I had approached AIR that I would like to have an orchestra of a big orchestra, and I want to invite Emily Shankar Shastri, the great, who was the head of the orchestra side. Emily Shankar was in charge of Carnatic music, and Ravi ji was in charge of
Ravi Shankar, that is.
Ravi Shankar ji
Was in charge of the Hindustani Music
Hindustani.
Orchestra.
When Ravi Shankar ji went away and Anil Biswas took over. Now there are certain rules, at Ashok ji you would know, certain rules how many days earlier you have to take the permission, advertise, put in advertisements. You can't just advertise any time. One gentleman who was looking after this went and advertised this one day before the show was supposed to take place. Anil Biswas was furious. He said, "Oh God." Then he went and reported the matter, that this is not according to rules and you can't do it. My tickets were sold and there were only only 10 days left for me to perform with my whole team. I tried all of this. It was very difficult. I went and saw the minister. He said, "जी मैं तो caretaker हूँ. I'm here only for a few days. मैं तो कुछ नहीं कर सकता हूँ." So I came back and told my caste, "Sorry, we can't perform because it sounded like Swan Lake. They can't do it." The boys and girls said, "No, we are going to perform."
No, so I don't understand. You lost your orchestra.
I lost that orchestra and I didn't know how to do it now. I wanted to cancel the show. But no, the girls and boys said, "No, you not. We will sing only with harmonium and we must do this." They said, "We'll go and find you instrumentalists and you won't believe it. You won't believe it. That Arun Bali, you see him on the there, and another couple of people. They went at night picking up a sarod player, a sarangi player, a sitar player and other instruments, and they collected 10 instrumentalists for my orchestra. But now how do they learn? Everyone doesn't know notation system. So how do we do it? Anyway, I used to sit with them till 9 at night, sing, and tell them to pick up whatever I was singing.
And luckily, now this is what I want to say, most of the music itself was an adaptation of different rags.
Yes.
So if they had been trained in classical music,
Yeah.
they could pick up at least the basics because they had played some of those rags, at least they knew some of it.
Yes. In Soni Maiwal, I had both folk, Punjabi folk, and classical ragas somewhere or the other. So they started practicing. I used to sing with them from 9 in the morning till 9 at night. And 5 days before the thing, I lost my voice. Know what to do? It was impossible. It was absolutely impossible. I didn't give up. The doctors, they shut me up in a room. Not a word, sab kuch. Medicines after medicines. And when I went on in the green room, and when my makeup was being done by Ashok Srivastava, I didn't know whether when I opened my mouth, will I be able to sing. Imagine an opera without a voice. But God was kind. I went on the stage and I sang. How I sang, I don't know. It was a miracle. It was a miracle. So that was one experience. And there are various other experiences, so many.
So, okay. Okay, so we'll come back to this in a minute. Your training, you were telling us about your initial training in classical music. You got married when you were about 17?
17 plus.
And
in those days.
And you went to Lahore.
I was married. My husband was in the Air Force. He was a doctor in the Air Force. So we went to Lahore.
And there was some music competition.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, there was a music competition, yeah.
And you went to participate in it.
Yeah.
And you were spotted.
Wonderful age, you know, it's a wonderful, you're not afraid of anything. गाओ, मज़े से गाओ, कोई डर नहीं लगता था बिल्कुल है, because I was happy that I was singing, that's all.
So I'm just trying to understand that, becoming a professional, that was the time as a 17-year-old or 18-year-old, you were spotted, as it were. That was when Jeevanlal Mattu, Pandit Jeevanlal Mattu was in the audience and he was one of the judges or something for that competition. And he was chief music producer of All India Radio at, he was music producer at All India Radio at Lahore radio station. And he came up the next day with a contract. And
No. He came up and he said, "Beta, बहुत अच्छा गाती हो, and रेडियो पे गाओगी?" कहाँ जरूर गाओगी? Thrilled, absolutely thrilled. So I went on the appointed day in a Air Force truck. We didn't have a car then, and I went there, and I remember I was singing Multani. I was very, very happy with myself. I thought I'd sung very well. Anyway, I went to the duty room, and I was given a contract of 30 rupees. And मैंने कहा, पंडित जी मैंने कैसा गाया? ठीक गाया? हाँ, ठीक गाया, पर आपको मालूम है कि तोड़ी और मुल्तानी के कंधार में क्या फर्क है? मैंने कहा नहीं. Who would at the age of 18 know the shruti, the different shrutis that are attached to our different ragas? And then I realized, oh my God, I don't know anything. I don't know anything. But then I decided, I made up my mind. I said, I'm going to be a professional singer. But then again, I wasn't sure. My husband was in the Air Force. We would be posted to different places. How will I? Anyway, a long story.
So anyway, then of course Lahore, you already got him panelled in All India Radio, and then of course partition happened, and you'd moved to Delhi, and Delhi is like a desert. There is no real cultural scene.
And particularly at that time, there was cocktail band, there was tea time band, British. And so there was, I used to think, what, in the evening if you want to go, where do we go to listen Indian music, see Indian dance? Kapila ji's, I don't know whether singing or she's left, she knows all about it. She knows all about it. And so we were trying, my husband was trying to start his private practice, trying to settle down, and so we went to call on Dr. Joshi, who's a very well-known surgeon of Delhi, and he introduced me to his daughter, Nirmala Joshi, who became the first chairperson of Sangeet Natak Academy. She said, "Aapka kya shauk hai?" I said, "Sangeet, classical music." So she said, "Look, I've just started a school here, Sangeet Bharati, in Connaught Circus, right opposite Regal Cinema. अगर आप हफ्ते में 2 दिन दे दें, तो अच्छे घर की बहू बेटियां भी सुनने के लिए, सीखने के लिए आ जाएंगी, because a lady is there." So I thought to myself, and it was walking distance from our house on Parliament Street. So I started going there, thinking I will be gaining so much myself with that experience, and I started teaching them.
Meanwhile, your broadcasts are going on regularly.
All the time. I never gave my broadcast. That way, I must say, AIR has played a great role in my growth in music. And when I reached Sangeet Bharati, I see Kapila ji there learning Bharatanatyam, and from whom? Vijay Raghav Rao. He was of course a flautist, and later on became the chief of Song and Drama Division. And Kapila ji learning Kathak from Achan Maharaj ji. On the terrace sat Achan Maharaj ji, and a little boy, Briju, giving theka. उसके ऊपर Sundari Sridharani. She had Almora Center for dance, Uday Shankar's dance, had closed down. So she came and took up a job in Sangeet Bharati. And S.K. Dutt from KHURANA was teaching sitar. And Sharan Rani used to come with a small sarod to learn from him. So it was KHURANA there. So I was fortunate enough to have come to know all these great musicians.
So, the other person that you were getting to know at this time, who became a very important and lasting friend or brother of yours, was Ali Akbar Khan.
That's right.
Now, how did that friendship come up?
Ali Akbar ji was in Jodhpur Darbar. So he was there during the time of Raza Hanuman Singh ji. So he was there, and my parental home was in Jodhpur. So I had, and Jitendra Pratap was there, who was a Shagird of Baba Alauddin Khan Sahab. So I got to know Ali Akbar, and
Jitendra was your...
He was later on, my brother got married to his sister.
Right. But that was later.
That was later. But Ali Akbar ji, he said, look, I have only one sister, Annapurna. I want you to tie Rakhi. मेरे को डाल राखी बांधी तब से till the day he passed away I was tying him Rakhi. So I had the good fortune of knowing all these people, very friendly, and we used to sort of have their programs in our home. And Ravi ji performing for Tat Maharaj and the works. I mean, the life is too long. I can't even tell you all as to what all I was able to do.
No, so tell me, in those days, did your engagement, looking for a venue to be able to meet other people in the field of classical music in those days, did Gandhar Mahavidyalaya play a role in any way?
Yes, very much, very much. Because everyone was trying to propagate classical music. And Bhaiji also used to have programs. He used to invite us for all the programs. So I got to know all these people, the great musicians who were trying to do something for classical music were there.
And so a small community built up in Delhi.
Yeah.
Right. So coming back to theatre.
He brings me back to theatre all the time.
This is Sheila Bhatia and Hali had, well, that's Hali and you, in a production called Rukhe Khet.
That was a song drama. Yeah.
And that was before Heer Ranjha.
Oh yes.
Right. Now, did you do music like this other than giving music for Heer Ranjha and then doing your own operas?
No, I didn't give music for Heer Ranjha.
Right.
I put them together, the pitches and everything.
Right.
Yeah. The music, the conductor was Sushil Das Gupta.
Right.
I put the pitches together for them. Like our friend Ved Vyas from the modern school, he couldn't sing for anything, so we decided, made a special recitation for him, something or the other. We did all this.
So, were there other theatrical productions also, like this one or others where there was music?
Yeah. Mr. Alkazi came to see my operas. And he said, why don't we see you more often? I said, but my line is classical music. He said, so what? NST was putting up a play, Skandgoats, which was being directed by Shanta Gandhi. And she asked me to compose music for Skandgoats and direct it, which I did. And I must say, sometimes she would get very angry, things. And I was very upset. And I went and told Mr. Al-Qazi, I said, this is not going to work. This is not going to. He says, no, but she is like that. Don't worry about it. Carry on the way you want it. So that's how. And then, of course, the other upside, Barrage Pai, all these people, they came, they saw the operas. Then people said, we'll leave Soni Maiwal there because
We can come back to it.
later on.
Yeah.
But here, someone said, why don't you do something in Urdu? And I said, all right. So Rifat Sarosh was a very well-known poet. He was with AIR. We approached him to do the libretto. Now the problem was, none of us knew Urdu. And but we wrote the whole thing in Devanagari script. And I told Rifat, I said, Rifat sahab, aapko hafte mein 2 baar zarur aana padega talaffuz theek karne ke liye. He said, aunga saunga, zarur aunga. And we worked on Jahara for 1 full year. But the thing was, who's going to produce it? Someone who knows, who understands music. I approached Om Shivpuri of NSD, and Om's younger sister was in college with me in Jodhpur. See how things connected, how they connected. So he said, Shanno ji, mujhe music ka kuch pata nahi hai. Don't ask me to do it, I can't do it. But मैं आपको एक नाम suggest कर सकता हूँ, Karan Singh. Karan ji was in BHU earlier, and he had learned to a certain extent from Omkarnath Thakur.
So Karanth had training in music. He was more sympathetic to work with as a producer.
But he was reluctant to produce it. He said, मुझे opera के बारे में कुछ पता नहीं है. मुझे संगीत अच्छा लगता है, पर मैं कुछ नहीं जानता हूँ इसके बारे में. मैंने कहा देखिए, मैं भी तो हूँ आपके साथ में, हम मिल के करेंगे. We will do it. Don't give up like that. You've learned, you've heard Omkarnath Thakur ji so much. We will do it. And I must say that was a great thing that happened. Because he was very systematic, very systematic. Each scene had a diagram worked out. And his wife Prema, Karan, with the advice of Roshan, she started working on the costumes, drawing each costume for each character beautifully. Then there was B.M. Shah. He did the sets. So I had all trained people there to help me. And of course, music was mine. And then I thought, why don't I now bring in classical ragas in this opera? Because I wanted the laymen to appreciate classical music. They always thought, कि क्या लगाई हुई है. They didn't know क्या होता है classical music, कुछ भी नहीं है. I said, no, I have to do it. I persisted. And I used 60 ragas in that opera. How one rag merged into another. It was just not that different lines with different words merged into each other, like Hindol going into Soni, and then some part Kafi, some in Ahiri Todi, some in Madhuvanti. So one thing after another, I kept composing, giving meaning to those words.
To those words. And to give meaning to those words, somewhere you were recognizing that this chalan of this rag is most appropriate to apply on this occasion. Now, before you came, we were thinking and we were discussing this aspect. We were talking about, since you brought it up now, I was going to talk about this later, but for example, can you just show us the bandish in Bageshri that you learnt from Thakur Sahib?
Oh, okay.
It's in Punjabi, right?
No.
From Thakur Sahib.
From Thakur Sahib, no Punjabi.
Okay.
No Punjabi.
It wasn't.
there.
Okay.
No
Oh,
Punjabi.
that's the other. Okay, yeah.
That is Thakur Sahib, Sanskrit Khayal. And
In Jai
that
Jai
is
Bhanti,
different.
that's different.
That's different.
I'm not asking. In Bageshri, what did he teach you?
Bagesh, he taught me the rag,
No.
and of course his bowl, his
His
bandish.
bowl, his bandish.
bowl,
Can you just say that?
Yeah, you've caught me there. Shall I just... Madhyam, Dicha, Madhyam. Lot of importance to Kakuri. तुम्हारे कारण सब कुछ छानियो अब शान्यो
Okay, so now very quickly, the same rag, what is the drut bandish that Mushtaq Hussain Khan Sahab taught you?
तेहारी बिना की करत हो रे पियरवा गरबा लागो रे गरबा लागो पियरवा.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. Now,
He's examining me.
no, I'm not examining you. I hadn't told her I was going to do any of this. So there are just some issues that I want to get across. The chalan of the same rag can be totally different depending on the bandish that has been selected. You have still used the same rag, but you have communicated two completely different emotions. The drut bandish that you have just communicated has utilized Bageshri in a certain manner, whereas the bandish that Thakur Sahab taught you is filled with pathos, right? What we heard earlier. Usme bar wo jo it's coming, it's this broken voice that is, it's karuna all the way through. And this is a more playful shringar. So when we talk about the application of a rag for creating a certain aesthetic effect, this is entirely a matter of the musician's understanding of that rag and what she or he wants to be able to do with that rag in that location. Because unlike classical music where you have learnt a bandish from your guru, where you are given the chalan for that particular bandish, here you have an entire libretto by a famous writer or a poet that you've taken, and it's up to you to be able to infuse it with whatever you want to, and that is dependent on your own education as a musician. So by the time you reached the score for Jahara, you're able to employ, as you just said, 60 rags in Jahara consciously to be able to demonstrate a variety of 60 rags to the public through one operatic piece, which was Jahara. And then when you came to the next one, to Chitralekha, you used even more, right? You used about 70 different rags. Now, you had options that when I'm going to take Bageshri, I can take Bageshri in this form, and I can also take Bageshri in this form. You can either take it for Karuna or you can take it for a playful Shringar. What did you choose to do with Bageshri? What was your natural choice? And every time you used Bageshri in your operas, were you using Bageshri always from the perspective of Shringar that Mushtaq Hussain Khan Sahab had taught it to you? Or were you using it more from the perspective of trying to use it as for the Karuna?
No, the thing is, it was, for instance, I don't remember the words just now. In Jahara, it is for a chorus, for a playful chorus, where the girls are singing together to celebrate Jahara's birthday.
I'm going to just put the Kanpura down.
So it's different rags they merge into each other according to the words. Whether it's Bageshri, whether it's Jajavanti. For instance, in Jahara I use Jajavanti. Jajavanti, and then it merges into another rag. The same song. Then Yaman comes in somewhere. When I sing that little aria from there, you will be able to find out, Mukeshji is betting he's an expert, and so how it merged from one thing to another.
Okay, I'll try and come back to some of this. I was looking through the pictures, just again distracting you, and this is a picture of you and Satish Gujral, Damayanti Joshi, K.S. Kulkarni, Indrani Rahman, and there's Nanu in the middle of it. I wanted to ask you, you were all experimenting and doing things
Yes,
together.
of course.
Hmm?
Of course.
And there was a
But-
lot of
but-
collaboration that was going on.
But experimenting not without niyam.
Hmm.
That was very important for me. I didn't take liberties with rags like that.
Hmm. So, talking about taking liberties, I remember this one remark. Indrani Rahman wanted to dance with you. You sang something for Indrani Rahman to dance to.
She approached me. She
Not
says-
your fault. She approached you.
She approached me and she said, "Look, Shanno, I want you to sing. I want to do Bharatnatyam with Ghalib's ghazal."
Yeah.
I said, "Indrani, you take care of your pandits in Madras. You are asking me to sing Eh Taza Varadane. Where is my friend here? Zakia ji, where are you?" She would know the Eh Taza Varadane Bisate Hawaii Dil. So there, Chaturlal was very much with us. He played for me for 16 years. So we, Chaturlal and myself said, "Kaise isko kya banaye, kya kare, baithe." So we sat and we composed it. And I told Indrani again and again, "It's your fault. I don't want to be criticized. Shanno KHURANA singing a ghazal." She said, "Don't worry, we'll do it." So she used to come to the house, rehearse with me. And is Ram here? No. She was carrying Ram at that time.
I see.
Like when I met Vinay Chandji, then Padmaji was carrying Madhup.
Right.
So I'm ancient that way. So, what was I saying?
That you people were all experimenting
Experimenting.
in a way that you
Yeah.
felt that what I'm trying, and now with Damayanti,
Yeah, Damayanti Joshi, yeah.
you sang for her and you sang unusual things for her.
No. First, in Rani, I was saying that when we finished that item, and who do I see? Mulk Raj Anand,
Huh.
coming from some of the back. I said, what a wonderful thing, very happy, very happy. And I was petrified that my classical people will say, "Shanno kya ga rahi hai, kya kar rahi hai?" Because people in our country label you with things. You know? Like for years, they would say, "Oh, ye to sab opera gaati hain." You know, look down upon opera. They didn't know what it involved, what it happened. And
So
then-
there was much more freedom that you all had
Yeah.
to be able to do these things.
Yeah.
You didn't, I mean, if I think about it, with your male musician friends, whether it was Chaturlal, Ali Akbar, Ravi Shankar, Bromkesh, who was Pannalal Ghosh's student,
Yeah,
all these instrumentalists,
yeah, they were all instrumentalists.
all of them were so experimental and they had the space to experiment.
Yes, they did.
Do you feel as a vocalist you did not have the same kind of space to experiment?
Yes, yeah. Our vocalists are more conservative.
Hmm.
And just like I said, they look down upon us, our opera gods. And many of my opportunities were snatched away from me. I can never forget one incident. In those days, before your broadcast, you had to go and report at the duty room and tell them which rag you're going to sing, so that it doesn't clash. I was going in the room, and someone in the corridor said, "Shanno ji, rukiye, aapse baat karni hai, rukiye." I didn't know him at all. And he came, he said, 3 mahine se main koshish kar raha hu to get your address, because we want to invite you to sing in our Amritsar Classical Music Festival. So I said, "Aap mujhe agar 2-3 minute dein, main ye lunch time ho raha hai, inko ye detail de ke aati hu." And I saw one producer from my Gharana, Rampur Gharana, standing there. And when I came out, they were not there. I said, what happened? He said, sir, I came to know later. He said, इनको क्यों बुला रही हैं आप? इनको क्या? हम घरानेदार लोग हैं. Though I was a गंडावान शागिर्द of मुश्ताक हुसैन खान साहब, इनको क्यों बुला रहे हैं? I thought, and my opportunity went. Many things happened like this. So they were very conservative. Once for my national program, I sang Sagar, Rag Sagar. Mushtaq Hussain Khan Sahab was famous for Sagar. He had composed many Sagars, 14 ragas, 15 ragas, and he had taught me this special thing. And for one of my national programs, I sang that Sagar. This chief producer who belonged to Rampur, he said, "Shanno ji, aapne ye kyun gaya?" I said, "Kyun?" ये कोई सबको बताने की, तो मैंने किसके लिए है? जब मुश्ताक हुसैन खान साहब ने मुझे चुना है ये सिखाने के लिए, और उनको लगता है कि मैं गा सकती हूँ, तो मैं दूसरे लोगों को क्यों ना सुनाऊं? But I was told, ये आपने क्या किया? So they're very conservative. They're very conservative. Instrumentalists weren't so. But on the other hand, Ravi ji came and saw Heer Ranja. Mushtaq Hussain Khan Sahab came to see
Soni
Maiwal, and his own son, Ghulam Taqi Khan. I made him sing Tappa as a part of the opera. Around se, koi wo baat nahi thi. But yes, you said that. I found instrumentalists more open-minded, but they were not.
Acha, now tell me, you began to learn from new gurus, different gurus. After you met Thakur Jaidev Singh, he introduced you to many different musicians, especially Agra Gharana singers. And after learning from Athavle, you went on to learn from S.N. Ratanjankar.
Before that, Thakur Sahab insisted that I, along with my vocal, the singing, I must go into musicology as well. He said, times have changed and you must do these music exams. So I went on. Now, when I was doing MPhil, there are certain ragas which generally people didn't know. Thakur Sahab requested one ustad and told him कि आप शन्नो जी को ये सिखाइए. He said, अच्छा शन्नो खुराना सीखेंगे तो एक एक बंदिश का मैं 500 रुपया लूँगा. At that time, Thakur Sahab said, no way. He point blank said, Shanno, she's already made a name, and now if he wants to learn, then these are my charges. Then Thakur Sahab said, just go to Kharagan. Ratanjankar ji is there, he's the Vice Chancellor. There couldn't be a better musician.
More learned musician.
Very learned musician. And you ask him a question, he'll analyze it for you. Why this note is being used here and not here. You can load him with questions and you'll have it. While the other musicians, vocalists, they say, हमने तो साहब अपने उस्ताद से ऐसा सीखा. That is the answer. That was, something. So here I went to Karakat, leaving my family, my children, and everything. And I must say, Ratanjankar ji was a great learned man. And one day he asked me, I used to go there in the room and sit there down and used to sit there. He was very hard looking, one had to be little. So one day he suddenly said, हमें मालूम है कि आप खाना ठीक नहीं खा रही हैं. नहीं, मैंने कहा ठीक है. खाना नहीं होगा तो गाना कैसे होगा? तो कल से महाराज मेरे रसोई से आप ही खाना. मैंने कहा मुझे शर्मिंदा मत कीजिए, मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगी. I'm saying the type of gurus there were. I was very fortunate, like Thakur Jaidev Singh ji, like Ratan Jatkar ji. They didn't belong to a musician family.
Exactly. They themselves didn't belong to musician families, and so they were happy to share with somebody who did not come from them. So what I'm trying to get at is, as a historian, we sometimes make a mistake and we don't realize that you're actually already the second generation. Your generation was already the second generation of people who were non-gharanedar musicians who were coming up. People like Dr. Ratan Jankar was of an older generation to yours, one generation before you, and they had been the people who had been able to come from non-gharana backgrounds and penetrate the world of gharanedar singers, learn all of that and start communicating it in a scientific way to the public, and no holds barred. They found a student जिसमें काबिलियत है, and they would just go ahead and teach. They weren't
very grateful to them.
So I think we oftentimes don't understand the history of how the democratization of Hindustani music has taken place and how the music has actually spread come and become a professional industry. And who were the pioneers?
Industries.
Well, and how it actually spreads amongst the public.
It really has become an industry now.
Right. Okay. So, like I was saying, yours was a generation of people that was experimenting so much. But I think in your generation, you did something that other people did not do of the older generation, which was that you began to give equal importance to the traditions of Indian folk music. And that was something that the older generation of classical musicians had not done. So when you wrote your two books, you wrote one book on the rigors and the stylistic developments of khayal, and you wrote a second book on the rigors and the voice production and the bandishes of the folk music of Rajasthan. So choosing to work on folk music as much as working on the nuances of classical music, this is something, bringing methodology to folk music, bringing a notation system to folk music, recording it in a systematic way. This was being done now for the first time by people in your generation.
In my generation, Later on, many people did.
Right. And I think this is something that I wanted to signpost as being a shift in the nature of professional musicians that were now emerging by your time.
I want to tell you one thing. While I lived in Jodhpur, I was not attracted by the folk music there. There were no mics, and I remember where we lived at night, all these Allah Jalai, and there were so many singers. Their voices came, the direction of the wind used to reach our home at night. And then I said, what a beautiful this thing. But then again it was classical. Years later, many years later, I suddenly felt the urge to know more about folk music of Rajasthan. And for my PhD, I wanted to take that topic. I went to Thakur Sahab and I said, Thakur Sahab, क्या करूँ मैं? मुझे ये करना चाहिए ऐसे क्या? तो हमारे देश में तो लेबल कर देते साहब ये तो folk music, ये तो opera music. So he kept quiet for a minute and he said, where do you think classical music came from? It came from folk. What do you think Kumar Gandharv's done? All this Lagna Gandhar and all this stuff. It came from there. Where do you think those different tals came from? 7 matras It's not your rupak of Hindustani music or tivra of Hindustani music, but they have the 7 matras. उसी जगह पे उनका वही सम है और वो खाली है, वो सब कर देते हैं. So then I realized, and would you believe that he traveled with me to Rajasthan all over, and we heard, it's a long story.
I know, I keep listening to this story and I keep thinking that as a PhD advisor, I don't think I've traveled with my students to each of their locations where they do field work. But if my students could only take me to the locations where they do field work, my students do field work in such exotic places that if I accompanied them on their field trips, I mean, that would be wonderful. But yeah, it is a remarkable involvement.
Yeah, it was.
So, okay, so you had, by this stage, we're looking at the 60s. You had been experimenting with folk music, which you had been studying for your PhD. You were composing for the theater, and you were making these operas, and you were traveling the world by this stage as a classical musician in your own right. And when you were traveling for your international concerts, you were not giving performances of folk music or your innovative operatic music. It was only classical music.
Yeah.
I know, I found these pictures, and you cut a very smashing figure, very elegant and smart, and there you are in Cairo and singing in Tehran for the birth of the Crown Prince in the palace. I found pictures of you with Damayanti Joshi and at the Acropolis with Jane Mansfield when you sang at I found pictures of you in improbable places, Khartoum and the Sudan and Gaza, and I believe you sang from the back of a truck.
In Gaza Strip, yes, I sat in the truck and sang because there was no stage. There was no stage.
So there were UN troops and you sang.
Yeah, we all
what did you
did
sing? Bhageshri?
I
No.
did a tarana.
You did a tarana. Right.
Lot of rhythm,
Right.
classical,
Huh.
and that kind of thing.
And then
You had to be, in any case, wherever you sing, you have to see what kind of audience you have. Always take care of that. No point in doing Vilambit Khayal.
Right.
Going somewhere.
And so by this stage, you had sort of, by the 60s, late 60s, you had sort of reached a point where you felt that, you had already achieved a lot of fame. I mean, if I look through all those archives.
But I always felt there's so much more to learn.
Right.
So much more to learn. I never thought that I'd arrived. Never. Even today. There's so much to learn. And I even in spite of rivalry and things like that, I always, when I listen to other musicians, if they are good, I like to take it in. I like to enrich myself. But I certainly don't like those musicians who stab you in the back and seize your opportunities. And we are all educated. What's something? Why should we do all that? Why should we do? Music is so beautiful. Dance is so beautiful. It comes from here. It comes from here. That makes you beautiful from inside. I've always looked at it that way. I didn't go that fame and this, that, or looks or the other. No,
Right.
never looked.
Well, I found some wonderful pictures of downtime, as we call it. Your conductor, Bomkesh Banerjee, and you, after, taking curtain calls, or Karant and
Yes,
everyone
Karant.
dancing
Karant
after a performance of Chitralekha. And I don't think I've ever seen you laughing with such abandon as that picture captures.
When you do the last show, you're so relieved. You're so relieved. Isn't it, Amal? Isn't that so? You're so relieved. Oh, it's okay.
I know, I thought that I should try and just look for pictures of curtain calls and green room shots and see what they reveal. And they're very revealing because everyone is is so relaxed after the whole tension of the performance that
But that's there in the corner is Payal, my daughter, Naman's mother.
yeah, I know. I thought she looked particularly good in that photograph. So I,
She did very well. Some of the expressions she brought, I mean, behind my back, people used to say, "Usne to gazab kar diya." I said, I can never see that because I have my back towards her. And she was the jealous sister of Jahara, one of the arias that I don't know what the time is, but we, in the arias that
you plan to sing today.
Yeah, I'm going to sing
Well,
that.
I think I'm going to be quick. I'm going to start speeding through the slides because we'll run out of time. I found a very interesting slide where you're analyzing the music of Dvorak,
Huh?
of Dvorak.
Dvorak,
Yeah.
okay.
And I was thinking that exposure where two Hindustani musicians, Dilip Chandra Vedi and you, are sitting and comparing and analyzing the music of a Western conductor who is known for his nationalism and how he brings a national identity into the music by bringing in folk music of Europe to create the kind of, and these must have been ideas that you people must have been told, and that must have influenced you in the way you went about composing your own operas, thinking that this is the scope of what can be done.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Every occasion like this enriches you as an artist. I just don't go and listen and come back. That's no. That you know what the other people are doing and how they are doing, etc., etc.
Yeah, I found this. There were other people to talk about, but when Nehru came to see Heer Ranja, and then you told me that he came rushing back to catch the last show of Soni Maiwal.
Later on, but for Heer Ranja, he came on the stage and he shook me. He said, "Gazab kar diya ladki, gazab kar diya." I was a ladki then. And for my Soni Maiwal, he said, "सीधा ढूंढ से आ रहा हूँ तुम्हारा गाना सुनने के लिए." ढूंढ से आ रहा हूँ. You must have gone to see Rajiv Gandhi and who was studying in Doon School at that time.
Right. And well, Dr. Radhakrishnan had become a great admirer.
My God.
Yeah.
I gave a command performance for him, and then he said that I would like to see Soni Maiwal in Rashtrapati Bhavan.
I know, I found a picture of that where you're all at Rashtrapati Bhavan, and I wanted to know that Rashtrapati Bhavan used to stage entire productions, not just a singer or something. They had you as a full troupe to come and perform in Rashtrapati Bhavan.
Dr. Radhakrishnan was particularly fond of music, very fond of music.
Didn't you feel that when you went to Cairo, you met Kulthum?
Yes, I did.
Now, for those of you who don't know, Kulthum was the great opera singer of the Arab world, and she would sing in Arabic to an audience that was a committed audience. And in fact, did you say that she had access to the National Theatre in Cairo once a week?
Once a week. Friday night, every Friday night, she used to sing, and people thronged.
And didn't it ever make you feel that kind of state patronage, that kind of commitment of the government of Egypt to its leading diva at that time, that kind of a commitment was lacking in our state sponsorship, even though we were coming up with academies and we were doing these things? That kind of commitment that Kulthum had, we really lacked in India.
Yeah. It was throughout, it was so difficult to find a room to rehearse. We just couldn't. I remember for one of the operas, how to do, what to do, where to perform, where to rehearse, people coming from such distances. Inder Gujral was head of municipal committee at one time or something. And he said, "Shanna, you can have that 10 rupees an evening, and you can have that." So we used to hold rehearsals there. And then how LTG came in and how that story that I've...
No, tell us the story. How did LTG get created?
Well, LTG people, the head, he was the head of GEC. He found that the opera has made such a name. And Humayun Kabir was coming to my husband for his treatment, and he asked, by the way, what is Mrs. Khurana doing these days? So she said, why doesn't she apply for a grant? And so we didn't even know that the grants are given. I didn't know, no one knew. So we applied. Then they said, you can't have grant. You can't give it to an individual. It has to be a group has to be. Now, I didn't have a group.
Hmm.
I didn't have a group.
So you made one.
I made one. This is how I started. That is how I started Geetika. And I did operas and I did Bhairav Sisoni festivals, all women.
Through Geetika?
Through Geetika.
Okay, now come back to LTG. What does this have to do with the creation of?
Geetika.
No, LTG.
LTG. All right. LTG, when he saw the opera was very successful, Sony Maiwad was very successful. So we thought, why don't we do 4 or 5 shows? And suddenly he said, the tickets are not being sold. No one is buying the tickets. We were very surprised. How can that happen? It was so successful. People waiting in queues to buy tickets. And now he says that it isn't. Now he wanted to grab that 8 or 10,000 rupees for LTG.
Right.
And where was
Because
I?
the poster clearly says that Little Theatre Group presents Soni Maiwal.
Yeah. And then he told my libretto, you get stay order so that she can't perform. What is this? She's put this little classical music there. You want folk music? We will take this to all over Punjab. So the man, the libretto, you're looking at your watch. I told you I warned you. He said, he got stay order, and I couldn't do any more shows.
So the libretto, the writer put a stay order on the music director and on the entire opera by saying that you could not use his words in the performance, in the opera.
Yeah.
I see.
So you can understand what it is.
Right.
Yeah. So there we are. Then I said, okay, it's not that. What can I do? I mean, stay orders. I didn't even know about these things, that these things can happen.
So, I mean, really, Soni Maiwal was your real trial by fire, as they say. You got a stay order because you weren't being allowed to use the text.
Yeah.
You got
Orchestra.
orchestra. Emini Shankar Shastri could not come and perform for you 10 days before you lost.
Yeah.
You lost the rights, the finances, because LTG took away the money from you.
And not only that, they took away all my costumes of Soni Maiwal, which were beautifully designed by Kiran Gujral. Kiran had worked so hard on this. He took away. And they came back with long faces because it didn't do well.
Apparently.
Yeah, that's what I
Right.
said.
And you lost your voice.
I
well.
lost my voice. But
So-
let me tell you, in spite of all that, it left a name, it went off very well.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously did, because you were emboldened to do more operas then after that on your own.
Yeah.
You set up your own organization, and these obstacles became, like they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
That's right, that's right. And then Geetika, then I got in touch with Sangeet, with Sangeet Natak Academy, and you'll be surprised, you are Kathak, you've done Kathak, Rashmi. I made Damayanti dance to a tappa, which she did. Very, very, very beautifully she did. We just persisted. We just went on and on and on.
So, coming to Jahara and Chitralekha, one in Hindi, one in Urdu. One was written up, the story of Jahara was written up by Rifat Sarosh, and Chitralekha?
By Pansarup Rahi.
Right. And musically, did you feel that these writers were responding to your requirements as a to be able to sing the?
Well, Rifat didn't know music. Rahi didn't know music. But they had written in such a way that I was able to, compose this in different ragas. And so they did very well.
Right. So as you were saying, that as a musician, the challenges that came up were things that you used to make your own group, to be able to come up stronger, to be able to, then you decided that what you had enabled for yourself, you wanted to share that platform with other musicians who were in the same position as you.
Yeah. Yes.
And so Geetika,
I helped every musician who wanted to learn further, free of charge, and I encouraged them.
So you've never charged
Never.
for teaching,
Never.
and you've always believed that women musicians who don't come from
Musician family.
they should be given a platform.
Yeah. No, that was because going through so many experiences in my life, I saw the woman who does not belong to a musician family doesn't get a platform. Not the way she should. So I started doing festivals, Bhairav Sisoni, besides these operas. All women musicians, even the accompanists. Those days there were no sort of emails.
I remember as a young boy.
I had to get in touch with the tabla players, the sarangi player. The only sarangi player, woman sarangi player, was Aruna Ramnarayanji's daughter. That was the only one. Bhageshri Kamal Shenai, flautist Hashi Biswas, and a whole lot of
I mean, there was even Panchaveena, Talvadik Kacheri, Ghattam players.
In that Talvada Kacheri, all the Carnatic instruments, here instruments, with Padhant and everything, all women were doing that. And
but the most important thing I wanted to say is that for all your recitals, you started using only female orchestra members.
Yeah.
And that was quite a remarkable sight, to go to a performance and suddenly find that the tabla player, the harmonium player, the sarangi player, who is accompanying you, and you weren't going to change your repertoire. You decided to sing the same aprachalit rags that you had learnt.
That was another, aprachalit rag. I took on to that because I found that all the festivals that we were having, our musicians were just 20, 25 ragas. They're repeating all those. Voi Malkos, Voi Purvi, Voi Puradana Shri, and all that. I said, what will happen to all the beautiful rags that we have, which are not in prachar? What will happen? So I said, let's do it. Said, all right, you sing one prachalit rag, but end up with an aprachalit rag. So I organized, the theme was aprachalit
But
rag.
these female orchestra members were all perfectly capable to learn, and they had already learnt.
Learned, and they had no opportunity. They were not given the platform. That was the problem. That is why I started all women's thing. And you'll be surprised how well that took up. I took it to Calcutta also. And I held a seminar also. So
I mean, I remember, and it grew, and it ended up, it became so successful that it was showcased abroad, and So the piece that you all participated in, and Sunira ji is here, and she was a part of this group, I remember.
Sitar, she played sitar.
When you composed Devi Stuti for the inauguration of the Festival of India, I'm interested. You decided to compose this in Shuddh Kalyan.
Yeah.
Why?
It just came.
You
I
see,
can't explain. It
this-
just came from here.
She always says that it just came, and it's not a good enough answer. I feel there should be a better answer. There should be more to this, and I guess I need to start analyzing it because that's what I do. That's what my job is, and I keep thinking that when I look at the visuals, I see very typical classical aesthetics. Every still, to me, looks almost like a miniature painting. There is that classic scene which we have heard of from Hindi Kavya, of the Jhula and the Hindol. There is the Chitralekha with her Sakhis, and the whole configuration, it could be a miniature painting from Rajasthan. It need not be where we talk about classical aesthetics. It need not be if I tinted this photograph, it would turn into a classic Ajanta depiction. Other one will turn into a typical Rajasthani miniature on the Hindol. And I keep thinking that what is happening is that in your training, you are subconsciously embodying a certain code of Alankar Shastra that is coming into the way you people are trained. There is a subconscious, there's a pedagogical system where you are unconsciously using certain rags in certain places. So this business about using Karuna and using Bageshri in this particular way, the girl playing with her Sakhis, and I'm going to use Jaijavanti over there is a code that is being followed as to why Jaijavanti will be appropriate. I mean, even Thakur Sahab's own bandishes in Sanskrit for Jaijavanti. What is the bandish?
You want me to sing?
Just sing it. I'm sure you remember it. I'll remind you if you don't. I mean,
You remember it?
I remember it. वही बात आ गई सखी मम व्यथा हाँ
This is a little scene from Jahara opera where her birthday is going to be celebrated on the next day. The previous night, a commoner, Bulan Akhtar, who was a poet, he entered her room and told her that he was in love with her. Volumeism. When Jahara saw this, she was furious, and she didn't want Buland Akhtar to come there. Now, as the celebrations are going there, she is in her room, and this is what she's saying. मैं क्या करूं, आंखें हैं जैसे सदियों से बेखबर, मैं क्या करूं, दिल मुस्तरीब है, बादे सबा चली थी, गुंजे अभी खिले थे, कल तक जो अजनबी थे, एक लम्हे को मिले थे, लेकिन खुशी के बदले तूफान गम उठा है ये महल के जिंदा जंजीर और कदम पर, दुश्मन को भी न देना शहजादी का मुकद्दर, बेबस हो जिंदगी जब हर सांस एक सजा है, दिल मुस्तरीब है, दो गाम ही चली थी, घबरा गई मुहब्बत, दारो रसन की मंजिल पर आ गई मुहब्बत, मरना है अब क्या जीना, क्या फैसला हुआ है. The other caste, one of the Kanizes, she enters the room. Kaun? I change my voice here. Kaun? Gulnar? तेरी आंखों में आंसू कैसे, आज तू दर्द की तस्वीर नजर आती है, चुप है क्यों, खामोश है क्यों, मैं तैयार हूँ कोई भी खबर सुनने को, चुप है क्यों, चुप है क्यों, किस तरह कह दूं, जो देखा है मेरी आंखों ने सरे दरबार, उन्हें दे ही दिया जहर का पान, मौलिया दार की अजमत का निशान, गुलाल पान खाते ही वो चकरा कर गिरे, यार हमने दारा से कहा था कोई तदबीर कर, थे वो दरबार में लेकिन खामोश आदमी उनको उठा ले गए, बुलंद बे अख्तर को, और फिर जैसे कोई बात न हो, सरे दरबार किसी शख्स का यूं मर जाना, बेनयाजी थे आया शाह की पेशानी से, रोवे शाही ने किसी शख्स को मोहलत ही न दी, सोचता कौन बरा किस पे बिजली सर दरबार गिरी, मोगलिया दौर की अजमत के बिना थी इंसाफ, लेकिन अब खून की आजारी का और इल्जाम लिया है उसने बेगुनाहों के दिल आजारी का रंग लाएगा बहुत जल्दी खून, रंग लाएगा बहुत जल्दी खून। जिल्ले सुबानी ने ये जुल्म किया है बेशक, लेकिन अब आपसे है मूलियादार की अजमत कायम, किसको मालूम नहीं। इनकलाब आए, बगावत के भी तूफान उठे, भाई भाई से गुरेजों बर्फ रोकता है। आपकी जाल रहमत मगर सब पे छाई रही, फितनों को दबाती रही अब तक पे हम। हाँ, ये कल तक था मगर अब सियासत से सरोकार नहीं रखेंगे हम। है ये इंसाफ की मीज़ान परे इस अदालत में जहां अदल का होता है, बेगुनाहों को दिया जाता है जहर। उस अदालत से सरोकार नहीं रखेंगे हम, उस अदालत से रखेंगे रिश्ता कि जहाँ शाह गदा जिन्ना लग जाते हैं और पाते हैं वो मुँह मांगी मुराद। अब तो अल्लाह के महबूब के दरबार में जाएंगे हम, जाएंगे हम, जाएंगे हम। I want to tell you how I started with Rag Jajavanti, and
I know, I wish I could show everyone that page because I asked her to mark it up.
बड़े बड़े अक्षरों में चश्मा पड़ेगा।
जो ट्रांजिशंस जो हैं एक राग से दूसरे राग में वो कैसे किए गए हैं, हाँ? So
फिर कहाँ पे कामोद आता है और रे
मायरी मोरा आज
मायरी मोरा, ये ख्याल है।
पकड़ लिया।
मायरी मोरा आज बना आया वाक शीश पे से राजू लाया मायरी। चलो री सके सब मिल कर दे के बनरा बनी को घर वाला गाया मायरी मोरा 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 कामोद। ये आ गया। उसके बाद आया मैं चश्मा दे दूं।
ये
फिर यमन आता है।
हाँ।
और फिर हमने दारा से कहा था कोई तदबीर कर, शिवरंजनी थे वो दरबार में। अब देखिए कि बदल गया। थे वो दरबार में लेकिन खामोश आदमी उनको उठा ले गए बेहोश बुलंद अख्तर को। ये आ गया। और फिर उसके बाद आ जाता है ये कल तक था मगर अब सियासत से सरोकार नहीं रखेंगे हम, है ये इंसाफ की मीज़ान फरेब। ये 12 स्वरों का भैरवी आ गया। ज़ारे गमा बदा निज़ाम सानी रवा मगरे ज़ाम तब दम बगम गरे ज़ाम तनी ज़ारे गमा गरे ज़ाम निज़ा गमा दनी ज़ारे निज़ा गरे ज़ारे निज़ा दब सनी दब नि दब दब मा पमा ग मगरे गरे ज़ाम। ये भैरवी आ गया। इस तरह से अलग अलग जो राग वो मर्ज हो रहे हैं, अलग नहीं खड़े हैं कि ये राग है ये मधुवंती भी आया इस प्रकार से। और तो ये
So all of this music that was coming, ये सारा आपके classical music में से ही आ
it was
रहा
all
था.
coming from there. You'll be surprised that middle of the night, if some tune came in my mind, I would just get up, write down the notation, so that I don't forget it by the morning. And that advantage of while my husband would be snoring, I was writing my notation. So same thing with Chitralekha.
I found an original recording
Of
from Sundari. Just one small piece. I thought I'd play it for you, just so that you can hear. इसमें 3 passages हैं, लेकिन उनके बीच में एक खामोशी है. And how that silence has been used is very interesting.
I find silence is music in itself.
But you see, you can't do that in a classical music performance. आप कहाँ पे वो सन्नाटा दो? You see,
No,
what
but-
I'm trying to
but
get at
silence-
is आपने
silence-
थिएटर
silence in
को
our music
उसका
is-
दर्जा नहीं दिया है. आप उसको हमेशा नजरअंदाज करके उसको नीचे दफना कर
नहीं,
रखा हुआ है
नहीं।
कि थिएटर के बारे में हम लोग बात नहीं करेंगे. सिर्फ माय करियर एज अ क्लासिकल म्यूजिशियन, जिसके साथ मैं कह रहा था शुरू से यही बात है हमेशा. Always we're going to talk about the Aprachaliत Rag and the Ragdari. We'll have conversations about these issues. We'll sort out that archive. But theater has enabled something in
Yeah.
your classical music.
It has. My voice, my throwing my voice, that pukar that you find, it's come from there. Or
So now listen.
Or it went from here to there.
Okay, good. I'm glad that at least we are now admitting that it's a two-way process.
It
We
is,
have
I mean-
achieved a victory today, and you are witness. But anyway,
And all these movements came, the flowing of the movements in opera went with the tune.
your pitch is so much higher.
बाप को ले जा आखी मेरे बाप नु ती पकड़ी जाए सिपाया जा दिया पकड़ी जाए
So पहले मेरे बाप को पूछो, फिर मेरे वीर को पूछो। तो ये आवाज जोर से फेंकने का जो तरीका है, हाँ, ये हाय रे जो है,
She's sending a message. So, the voice goes.
so ये जो रस की जो बातें, I'll turn this off. एक और sorry, it's a very scratchy old recording, but it's what इसमें पुकार की बात भी है, काकू भेद की बात भी है। लेकिन जब रस की हम लोग बात करते हैं, तो अगर सारे 9 रसों की बात की जाए, तो थिएटर में आपके पास मौका है विभत्स को भी दिखाने का। लेकिन आपकी किसी क्लासिकल म्यूजिक परफॉर्मेंस में आप वो विभत्स कभी नहीं दिखाएंगे।
नहीं, which is very true.
सो थिएटर में आपकी आवाज में कुछ ऐसी चीजें लाने का आपको मौका मिलता है, वो मौका आपको क्लासिकल म्यूजिक के स्टेज पे नहीं मिलने वाला था। सब चीजें क्लासिकल म्यूजिक के स्टेज पे नहीं मिलती हैं, हाँ?
ये एनालाइज मैं तो गा दिया।
No, but you see, the thing is that if you you can want to do it in dance gives you an opportunity.
No.
But in terms of, because it has theater in it, but as a classical musician, your repertoire is also very limited to the emotional register that you can express through it. The different emotions that you can bring out through your music, as to what we have enabled on our classical music platform. We are not enabling a platform where people have the opportunity to express horror or disgust.
Yeah, horror and disgust in classical music, no.
We don't permit, we provide that opportunity.
But other rasas are always there, always there.
So, this brings me sort of to the title of today's talk, that ras is really like a kind of a nurtured second nature. It's not a nature that you feel that you are born to. It is something that has been cultivated because you have learnt all this different kind of music because of your exposure. The idea of taking the idea of Dvorak and taking Kulthum and taking the innovations of Rajasthani folk music and Punjabi music, and then the rigors of Hindustani classical at the base of it, and learning from all these different masters and doing musicology alongside, and you're able then to be able to, like I said, you just said that रात को when my grandfather was snoring, you would wake up because आपको कोई idea आया होता है रात उस वक्त रात के, and you wanted to write the notation down because you didn't want to forget the music in the morning. You wanted to wake up you wanted to make sure you'd written down your ideas. It had become your nature, but that nature was a cultivated nature. You had learnt that. You weren't born to it, but you developed it all through your life and you sensitized yourself. And as a teacher, I find that very important and very powerful, because it means that I too could perhaps do that with my students in something, that something can be taught, and it need not be that somebody is just born to it. and you just have a proclivity to it. People can be trained, and certainly as a teacher that gives one a lot of hope to know that it's possible, you know.
You know, when they say कि इनके तो रगों में है, रगों में नहीं होता है. I mean, all the time people say इनके तो रगों में गाना है, इनके क्या रगों? You cultivate it, you work towards it. But a lot of people, when they say that, I don't agree with them.
Okay, so before we end, can you sing us a small piece from Chitralekha?
Yeah, Hindi, especially for Ashok Ji, the Hindi poet. Now this Chitralekha, because people said, Punjabi में भी आपने कर लिया और उर्दू में भी, हिंदी में क्यों नहीं हो सकता? जरूर हो सकता, क्यों नहीं हो सकता? So I thought of Chitralekha, the theme, Bhagwati Charan Varma's novel. And I had a friend, Rao, in National Book Trust. She knew Bhagwati Babu. So for that, I had to take permission from Bhagwati ji. So I went to him, and so I said, I want to do it in an opera form. करिए, ज़रूर करिए. कहा मुझे लिख के दे दीजिए कि आपको कोई ऑब्जेक्शन नहीं है.
आप पहले तो मार खाए हुए थे आप. पिछली ओपेरा से तो आप मार खाए हुए थे.
वैसे मार नहीं खाई थी मैंने. Then so बाल स्वरूप राही, उसने कभी नहीं लिखा था ऑपेरा. He never knew about it. He wrote this.
उसके बाद भी नहीं लिखा शायद.
हाँ जी.
उसके बाद भी नहीं लिखा.
उसके बाद भी नहीं लिखा. It is a very difficult thing. आसान नहीं है. आसान नहीं है इसके लिखने. पर और भगवती बाबू जिंदा थे तब. So he came on the stage. जब उन्होंने देखा, he saw it. He came on the stage and he said कि मैं 28 वर्ष का था जब मैंने ये नॉवल लिखा. लोगों ने इस पे मतलब निकाले, फिलॉसफी, मुझे कुछ मालूम नहीं. I don't know anything about it, but I wrote it, and people appreciated it. Then of course it has been filmed twice. Mehtab was once, and the second one was Meena Kumari or something. So उन्होंने अपनी तारीफ की. मैं कहना चाह रही हूँ कि जिस तरह से चित्रण आज हुआ है, वो सही मायने में. And there were tears in his eyes. That was the biggest compliment that I could. What a great writer, and what a theme, my God. और इसमें भी कारण जी ने मेरी मदद की. कारण जी ने प्रोड्यूस किया और प्रेमा ने इसको रोशन अगेन हेल्प था. कॉस्ट्यूम बनाए, एक एक चीज़ के डिटेल में कॉस्ट्यूम बनाए. प्रेमा, quiet worker, and she did that. And Karan ji, of course, you all know he was our friend. He also quietly did whatever. Each diagram with this entry, with that. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure to work for him. तो ये मैं जो एक छोटा सा आर्या आपके लिए गाना चाहती हूँ, वो चित्रलेखा wants to renounce the world. उसने बहुत देख लिया ये पाटलिपुत्र के अंदर सब, and she wants to renounce the world, and she goes to कुमारगिरी the sage कि आप मुझे दीक्षा दीजिए. कुमारगिरी was he when he saw चित्रलेखा he said नहीं, मैं ये नहीं कर सकता हूँ, मैं दीक्षा नहीं दे सकता हूँ किसी के अंदर, because he was afraid that he might get attracted by her, and he said नहीं, कभी नहीं हो सकता. So this part is when Chitralekha goes, Diksha do, and then he said, Ye asambhav. So how I've started this with Hindol, I've gone into Rag Sohni, and then I've gone into Kafi. According to the words, my voice also changes, and my what shall I say, my emotion also change. So दीक्षा दो गुरुवर मैंने त्याग दिया जग सारा वह सब जो मुझको था प्यारा आई हूँ मैं शरण आपकी चार नगरिया मोह पाप की विनय कर रही हूँ शीश झुकाकर दीक्षा दो दीक्षा दो दीक्षा दो ये असंभव है असंभव क्षेत्र लेखा साधन पथ है विषमतम चाहता है गौर संयम और तुमने बस प्यार देखा ये असंभव है असंभव चित्रलेखा मन में हो यदि संकल्प आग भी जल बन जाती है पी सकते हैं हम उसे बड़ी शीतल बन जाती है नहीं नहीं ये न हो सकेगा ये न हो सकेगा ये न हो सकेगा सकेगा न हो सकेगा in this Hindol so many rags have come in
But also so
and
much
coffee
drama and theatre, which is the best part of what we want to be able to see. So I think this has been very illuminating. I wanted to put these album covers together just so that we get some idea about the versatility. We have an album of rare rags, a DVD documentation that IGNCA did recently, and a recording of tappas. I mean, 3 completely different genres of music that have been recorded and put through. And I was wondering what's next on the anvil.
No. No. Well, it's
Sambhav, Sambhav is what you should be saying. It's just.
well, it's up to you what people want to do. I keep doing my bit. I don't know how long I'm going to be there for. But yeah, documentation and the entire notation. I've got the entire script ready with my little notings here and there. It's all up to you what you
Well, I think we should put it to some use. I think it needs to, something needs to be done with it again, and it needs to be revived in some way. Thank you all very much.
I hope it makes sense.
Well, friends, we have no time for question and answer. We have run out of time. But you will agree with me that it was a very engaging and illuminating conversation. Both historically, personally, musically, intellectually, emotionally. So thank you very much. We are very grateful to Shannoji and to being so talkative and filling up all the gaps. And thank you very much for coming. Thank you. We have 2 events. One, we celebrate Octavio Paz, the great Mexican poet, who was once upon a time an ambassador. So that is going to take place on 17th November and 19th November. we have a lecture in our series Gandhi Matters, Truth from the Beginning to Mahatma by Ganesh Devi, which will be on 23rd, I think, or 20th. And we have the Arambha series going on. We present young musicians and dancers. And we have a mela of young Hindi writers, about 60 writers from all over the country coming together. And we are forcing them to read some forgotten classics. Tulsidas, Surdas, Ghananand, Dev, these illiterate young writers. So that's going to take place on when? 23rd, 24th. So it's a full month for you. Don't try to loiter anywhere else. There is no point in wasting. Come to Raza Foundation function. Thank you.
Nice, nice to come all the way.